Hello there, this is Joseph, and welcome to another QML tutorial. And in this tutorial we're going to start out the road to animations. And animations are really great in QML and easy to use. We're going to take our model project that we had before. We have a XML list model which is going online to a open source database using their API and getting some XML data back. We query where we want it from and we get the banner. And we delegate that in MyDel. Inside of MyDel, we have the source set up. Okay, and we say if the status is equal to an error, then look inside of our JavaScript file and look for fallback. And we can look at that right there, which is set to this, which probably should be set to a local file because we don't want to keep on loading things. That kind of if statement makes no sense. It would have to be to a local file. Anyways, the important part of that tutorial was to show you how to actually import JavaScript. So, anyways, back to animations. We're only going to discuss behavioral animations on this part of this tutorial, and what I mean by that is we want behaviors to happen when properties are changing or when properties are doing something different. Okay, so you have to think about that a little bit. So let's start out with scale. All right, so let's say scale. All right, and we're going to say status is equal to image.ready. Okay. So if the status is equal to image.ready, we're going to say scale it to 1, else keep it to 0. Okay. So what we've done here is we've created two states within the scale property. Okay, we've created the state of, if this image is ready, one state is, put the scale up to 1, else the scale is going to be 0, right? Okay, so what we can do is we can add behavior to that. Okay, so we can say behavior on scale. Okay, so notice we have this behavior and we're saying on, and then we're pointing back to our scale right here. Okay, and then we got curly brackets because we're going to put stuff in between this. Now we're going to say number animation, and because this is going to be a simple animation, we're just going to do that, but later on we'll be getting into quite in-depth animations, but for right now. So there are a lot of properties of number animation, but we're just going to use some simple ones here. Let's try duration. And that's the time that it takes, okay? So if there is behavior at all on scale, okay, the time that it takes to run this animation is what we're setting right now. So there's definitely going to be behavior because it's going to be at 0 until it's ready, and then once it's ready, it's going to turn to 1. So there's 100%, behavior happening here, okay? State behavior, we should say, okay? So let's set that, okay, to be equal to, say, 800, just for right now. Okay, let's save and run this code. And you can see, there it goes. The animation started and it stopped when it was done. Okay. Now, what else can we add? We can add something called easing. Okay, it's going to be easing.type, because that's the one that we're going to use in this tutorial. Now we type in capital easing. Alright, and now we type in the type of animation that we want it to run throughout the animation, the easing type of animation. Okay, and in this case we're going to do out because we're scaling from 0 to 1, so that's kind of pushing something outward at you, right? So we'll just say out bounce. Okay, save this and run this. You'll see that the things will bounce, right? Now there are a lot of them, and you can go through and look at each one, and there are ins and there are outs, and then there are just regular ones. Check out the help manual. There's a bunch of them. We can do out back, which will push it all the way out and then bring it back, and let's set the duration on that to be maybe 1200. I think that's by milliseconds. I checked the help manual for that, and there it goes, and it's just bouncing them right out back and them right up out there. All right. Now we don't have to necessarily put it okay, for on scale, right? We could do inside of our number animation, we can target things. We can target, okay, and we would have to put an ID to our image here. I'm just going to call it main image. We say target is equal to main image. All right. Now we have to tell it what property to grab. Okay, and we're going to say opacity, and these are in quotes. And we're going to say from, okay, 0 to 1. Alright, now let's save this and run this. And you'll see, instead of it targeting the scale, it's going to target the opacity. Alright. Now, what we could also do instead of that, of course, is we could do something really simple. Take the opacity out of here, take the scale part out right there, and we're back to being on scale. Let's just run that. Outbounce on the scale. Happening a little bit too quick there. We set a target. There we go. We could also do something like, whoops, opacity, and we could say status image dot ready. Okay, and we're going to say 1 else 0. Same deal as the scale. And now all we would do is just take this, copy it, put it down underneath opacity, and instead of behavior on scale, we're going to say behavior on opacity. Now we could set it up so that the fade happens faster. Okay, so we'll say that's happening at 800, right? So let's go ahead and run this. So the fade happens faster than the bounce there, as we can see. Maybe at 1100. And you know, I don't know if I can do it like this, but it is what it is. So from 0 to 1. Oh, I think it's going to, and there we go, that's a lot better. So there we go, there we have opacity and behavior. Well, I'm Joseph. This has been your first tutorial on how to start behavior, and next we'll be doing states and transitions and getting into a lot more animations. We could also, later on we're going to be talking about different types. We can add sequential animations to a single animation and so on and so forth. But to start out with, there you go. I'm Joseph. Have a good one. See you later.